Alongside Janice Pennington and Dian Parkinson, Holly Hallstrom was one of Barker's Beauties, a trio of models who assisted game show host Bob Barker on his popular daytime program The Price is Right. Hallstrom appeared on the iconic series for almost 30 years, from 1977 to 95, but much like her colleagues, her departure from the show was marred with controversy. When it was time to leave The Price is Right, she had nothing nice to say about her boss or the workplace she had devoted so much of her life to. Bob Barker may seem like a cordial, kind-hearted man. Many of us spent years glued to our TV screens as he instructed overjoyed contestants to come on down. And of course, there was always his daily insistence we have our pets spayed and neutered to help control the pet population. How could a man like that have enemies? Join Factsverse as we take a closer look at the controversies and scandals that destroyed Holly Hallstrom's career. Holly Hallstrom's early life. Holly Ann Hallstrom came into this world August 25, 1952, in San Antonio, Texas. As a starry-eyed teen, Hallstrom already knew she wanted to pursue a career in showbiz. After finishing high school and enrolling in college, she started modeling to pay for tuition. What started off as a part-time modeling gig eventually evolved into a full-fledged career. When visiting LA, she managed to land a job that changed her life forever. After Holly auditioned to become one of Barker's Beauties on The Price is Right, Barker and the other producers were so impressed by what they saw, they offered her a permanent position modeling on the show. After Anitra Ford had left the show the following year, a vacancy was open that needed to be filled. But they weren't about to just give that gig to anyone. To be one of Barker's beloved beauties, a model had to be stunningly beautiful and likable. Hallstrom, fortunately, fit that bill perfectly. Not only was she gorgeous, but she also had that unmistakable it factor. Her first appearance on the show was on January 3, 1977. That taping served as a model tryout. Several other potential models had made appearances on the program, but Holly proved the producer's favorite. After being chosen as the permanent replacement for Anitra, Hallstrom was officially made a full-on Barker Beauty in February of that year. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. And stick around for more of Holly Hallstrom's story. A series of unfortunate events. Things got off to a rough start for Hallstrom. She became well known for making blunders and having embarrassing mishaps related to various prices and set props. While those bloopers probably made her feel pretty self-conscious, the audience loved it, and she quickly became a fan favorite. During the October 16, 1981 taping, Holly experienced a wardrobe malfunction while dancing to the song Celebration by Kool and the Gang. She had gotten so caught up in the music that her dress began to fall off her body. After she realized what was happening, Hallstrom bolted behind announcer Johnny Olson and host Bob Barker. Fortunately, Bob saved the day by stepping in front of Holly and covering her up with his jacket. Another humorous set of bloopers involving Hallstrom involved the now infamous brand of consumer goods Gibson kitchen appliances. On one occasion, the refrigerator door kept swinging back open when she tried to shut it. A similar thing happened with a Gibson dishwasher on a later episode. In February 1993, while modeling alongside a jukebox and dancing around with a male mannequin, the mannequin started falling apart piece by piece. The audience roared in laughter, as Holly hadn't noticed that her dancing partner had been disintegrating. After Rod Ruddy finished reading the prize description and Holly realized what had happened, she joined in on the laughter, while Bob jokingly quipped that with Holly, you could never tell if these kinds of things had been planned or not. Holly's mostly unsuccessful acting career. In 1983, Hallstrom chose to leave the series to pursue an acting career. In her absence, several models filled her position. The three most notable were only known by their first names: Chanel, a blonde who first appeared on November 14th, Pat, who was the first African-American model to appear on the show, and Andy, a brunette who's believed to be Hollywood actress Andie MacDowell. Also filling in for Holly for a stint was Janice Baker, best known for her work on Jim Perry's Card Sharks, Christian Bjorklund, who also appeared on Card Sharks, and Kyle Aletter, who originally was a contestant on the show and was selected to be Holly's permanent replacement, but was instead signed on as a sub. Holly's acting career never really took off as she hoped it would, and she returned to The Price is Right in 1984. She did later enjoy a brief acting career shortly before and after departing The Price is Right for the second and final time in the mid-90s. A few of her most notable credits include roles in the 1996 TV film The Tomorrow Man, and an uncredited appearance in 1993's Loaded Weapon 1. She also appeared briefly in a bit part in the 1989 TV series The Nut House. After returning to The Price is Right in the spring of 1984, Hallstrom remained at her post until her abrupt dismissal from the show in October of '95. Hallstrom was seriously injured on more than one occasion. On December 10, 1992, Kathleen Bradley and Hallstrom were both seriously injured during a showcase that involved a 500-pound industrial stove on a rotating display platform. When the stagehands wheeled out another prize on the showcase, a 1.5-ton boat, the vessel's hull bumped into the stove, tipping it over onto Hallstrom and Bradley. Holly managed to jump out of the way, while Kathleen was struck by it and immobilized by its weight. When the stage crew realized what was happening, they rushed in to come to her rescue. When they pushed the appliance off her, it came crashing to the ground, bursting into thousands of pieces as both models were struck by its sharp and heavy pieces, resulting in bodily harm. Both ladies were rushed to a nearby hospital. They were left with severe bruising and several lacerations. As a result, they were unable to return to work the following day. The accident prompted a lawsuit against CBS. The network settled things with the two models, however, by offering them monetary compensation. Holly's departure and subsequent legal battle. In September of 1995, Bob Barker abruptly dismissed Hallstrom from The Price is Right. She first asserted that Bob had dismissed her after gaining 14 pounds due to a prescription medication she was taking. She later claimed the real reason why she was given the axe was because of her refusal to back Barker when fellow beauty Dian Parkinson sued him for sexual harassment. Allegedly, Barker had ordered her to do interviews and talk shows to say Parkinson was lying. She claims he also coached her to recall specific events differently than she had remembered them. Holly refused to lie for Barker and wound up on the receiving end of his notorious wrath. After the public initiated a spirited letter-writing campaign complaining about her dismissal, Barker sued Hallstrom for slander and libel. 48 hours before the trial, Barker backed down and dropped his suit. The court ordered Bob to pay Hallstrom's legal fees, declaring her the prevailing party. Hallstrom then countersued Barker for discrimination, wrongful termination, and malicious prosecution. In 2005, Hallstrom won her case and was awarded a multi-million-dollar settlement. After that, Barker refused to sign an agreement that would have forbid him from talking to the media about Hallstrom. To avoid having her name run through the mud, Hallstrom then agreed to a less significant settlement that would prevent Barker from talking about the case. Holly has never married, nor has she any children. This is likely why she was the only one of Barker's beauties who, as she puts it, could stand up to the miserable tyranny at the hands of a mad dictator, which of course she means Barker. During her decade-long legal battle with Bob, Holly spent all her savings, had to sell her house, and ended up homeless living out of her car. Nowadays, Hallstrom is doing a lot better. At 69, she's semi-retired and living in one of several houses she owns in San Antonio. She occasionally does appearances and interviews, but for the most part, stays out of the spotlight. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Holly Hallstrom did the right thing by standing up to Bob Barker? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.